My name is Domena and I'm a certified professional dog trainer, and my dog training business is called Definitely Dogs. Today you're going to see a demonstration of loose leash walking tools, in particular 3 tools. The first tool that we're working with is teaching the dog to loosen the leash. And that is when the leash goes tight, that the dog automatically loosens it and not you giving the dog another foot or 2 or 3. And then we're going to work with moving into connection and moving along with you in connection, and ultimately moving by distractions. There is a bewildering amount of different equipment choices out there, and I would suggest for teaching loose leash walking you follow 2 different principles. Principle number 1 is choose a piece of equipment that is different from what you have already and from what your dog has learned to pull on. And the second suggestion is that you find yourself a harness. Harnesses are very gentle on the throat because they usually sit free of the throat. And what I suggest is you find a harness that has a front attachment point over the sternum of the dog and a back attachment point. And the front attachment you will use exclusively for basically teaching your dog to walk on a loose leash. And the back attachment point is when you're done with that, or when you just want to briefly take your dog out, or you don't have any time to teach your dog. So that the dog feels that there's a clear difference in terms of how the harness works on its body. Harnesses are very kind to the body in many different ways, and if you teach the dog on it, it will be very successful. I forgot to introduce Mac. I'm actually not working with Mac in the clip, but Mac is the brother of Audrey, who I will be working with. And he's a lap dog that really enjoys being here. I'm not holding him. He's just happy to hang out and just now licking my hands. Very sweet. Okay, so these loose leash walking tools, I would like you please to work in a controlled environment only, just like the kind of controlled environment that you see in this video demonstration, because that will allow you to repeat until you're very fluent and your dog is very fluent, and do a number of repetitions later on, so your dog says, oh, I really got that, and you really got it. I teach a very progressive form of training, and that's called marker training. This would be how the dolphins and the killer whales were taught at the aquariums or at performance situations. That's how other performance animals are taught. And for the marker, we can either use a quick word like yes or see, something that sounds happy and is only used for that purpose, or we can use a clicker. And the beauty of the clicker in my demonstration is that I can talk while I train the dog, so I can explain it to you, and this is not something that you will have to learn, but it's good to have it under my belt so I can show you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. That's it. So this is one of the harness types that I have referred to earlier. It used to be called a tracking harness or front attachment harness. Now there is no rhyme or reason in terms of what harnesses are called, but you can see that it has a back attachment. This would be the head, this is the body of the dog, and the front legs go through here, one here, and the back attachment is up here, and I always say tails to tails. And the beauty of it, it has a little ring here that you can use as a front attachment. So this allows you to do give some directional input to the dog. So the dog can learn that when this is the case, when it pulls a little bit this way, to yield this way, or when it pulls a little bit this way, to yield that way. And this is opposed to when the attachment is at the back, where you have absolutely no directional input. All you can do is hold back the dog, but really not influence the focus at all. So This is already adjusted roughly to Audrey's size, and I've asked her mom to touch it all over or stick it under her shirt so it takes on the scent of something familiar and something trusted rather than just smelling off store or off storage or something like that. And that's a really good trick to have the dog not be concerned about what the harness is, because it goes on their body and they don't understand what strange smells are about. So I'm going to just get her ready to put it on, and what I would like you to do or suggest you do is you figure out, okay, how does that go on? Tails to tails, front attachment sits over her sternum, so it goes on like that for her. And to make the whole process really pleasant, I'm going to feed her something, she says food, through the head opening, as you can see. And while she's nibbling, I'm just gently putting the harness over her head. Now I'm going to get her to stand, which she knows. And while I take her foot and her leg and put it through here, she's still focused on the food. And she says, oh, if you put harnesses on like this, I don't mind it at all. And now she's going to nibble from my other hand. And I'm going to find, the attachment point here. And just when I'm ready, I let go and clip it in. And here we go. So this would be the attachment point that you would use when you're just going for a quick walk. And in front here would be the attachment point that you're using when you're teaching your loose leash walking manners. And I suggest that when you clip it in, you put the round part of the buckle against her body and you put it into the center here, rather than having that funny kind of edgy part rub against her body, like that. And then I suggest you set the length of the leash, and the length of the leash should be roughly a half length of leash measured from your body. So it's a good practice to have the hand anchored against your body, either into your pocket with that knot, or against your belt with that knot, or if you wear a pouch, against the pouch as well. And I'm actually going to throw a treat away from her, and most likely she will tighten the leash and I will be like a concrete column and stop until she loosens the leash. And this is the lesson here. All looks my way. And I let her think that out rather than trying to distract her or trying to call her, because in the end I want her to practice the thought, there's a distraction, the leash is tight, I'm going to loosen the leash and good things happen. I'm basically waiting for her to think. To say, oh, there's somebody else at the end of the leash. It's not all about the distractions. Much better already. She didn't go to the full extent of the leash. But learning does not often take place in a total straight curve upward. This is very nice too. No, I think she hears something. Good. And you might notice that I don't just click her at the full turn, but as soon as she starts to turn or as soon as she starts to loosen the leash. This is lovely now. She's not even pulling that direction. Ah, good thought. Very nice. It's hard. And there's some other noises out there. Good. I'll do a couple more so that she becomes very fluent. Lovely. So now we're going to take a little step towards the whole thing, and it says, oh, beautiful. And another little step, and she says, oh, it's so tempting. But I can think of you. Nice. Okay, so we're going to take another little step towards it. And she says, oh, I hadn't forgotten about it. And another little step towards it. Good. Another step towards it. Oh, lovely. And now she's actually just looking at it while the leash is loose. So we're walking away. Good. Decision. Lovely. And we're walking back towards it. And we're walking towards it. And she's hesitating. Beautiful. And we're walking away. And don't take that for granted. And we're walking towards it. Oh, beautiful. And she's not pulling in another half step. Only a half step. Very nice. Good. Oh, very nice. And we're walking away from it. Good. And one day we actually want to just walk by it. Nice. All right. And now I'm just going to switch Audrey to the back attachment. She's not going to have any of the treats on the floor. But we're done with the loose leash walking training, and we're switching to the back attachment so that that becomes clear that on the front we only work on loose leash walking. On the back she can do whatever she wants to do.